welcome everybody to the June 2nd, 2025 Jenkins City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Ernestine.
Here.
Chuck.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Garnet.
All righty, if you would stand. Chuck, would you read some prayer, please?
Will do. Dear Lord, we're just thankful to be able to gather here this evening and discuss the business of our city. And Lord, we pray that as we discuss this business, we do so that will benefit everyone and be according to your will. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Now if you join the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, in your packet, you've got the May minutes. Entertain a motion to approve those. Make a, got a motion? I'll second. Got a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All righty, also the financial report is in the packet. I'll make a motion to accept it. All right, have a motion?
I'll second.
Have a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All righty, now, CRAD report.
So I want to introduce you to Donna Stacy. Donna is actually going to be your permanent person for your city council meetings. I've just been filling in for a little bit, but Donna's been with our office for a little over 2 years now. She's actually working the majority of your Jenkins projects, so it just made sense to have her be here to give you project updates. So she is actually the person that's responsible right now for your Jenkins ADA project that's working here on the building. And I'll let her give you a little update here in just a second on where we're actually at on that project. As far as your other projects, I don't know if you heard me talking with the mayor, the revitalization and resiliency plan, we're working to get all your evidentiary materials done. Just as soon as I get all those done, we'll actually be able to go for release of funds and actually put that out for bid for a contractor and be able to start that plan. We have the wastewater treatment plant improvement projects. That is a fully funded project now. We're working on your environmental, and then we're working to get all the evidentiaries completed on that one. You'll see that there's still some things that we have to do on it. Same thing with Jenkins Grandview. It is fully funded now, so we're working to get all the evidentiaries done on it. And then we're working to get the environmental done on that. That one will move a little slower because we still have to wait for Department of Transportation, of course, to put the road in and things like that. So it will move a little slower, but so just be aware that, you know, there's still some things that have to go with that one as well. So we do have some applications in on some other projects. So we're just continuing to work through the list of projects. I'm still waiting to get your MOA on your city park renovations. They do have a new lady there, and she is working really good. She's picking up very fast. She's getting stuff into National Park Service, so I am hoping that with her there now, we'll hopefully get that MOA in pretty soon. So that's kind of where we're at on this, and I'll let Donna give you an update on the project here at City Hall.
The biggest thing with this project here is the elevator. They actually had to order from a different company that is BABA compliant,
Which is Buy America, Build America.
and so it is by regulations. The project itself is about 19% done, and from the progress meeting today, which we had earlier today, they talked about stuff they can do in the meantime while we're waiting on the elevator to come in, because it's going to be on back work for a little bit. Start on the tile in the bathrooms, maybe even some of the electrical work they can start on.
Y'all have any questions for us?
But we've got a good contractor and they're working to get it, so there's stuff they can be doing while we're waiting on the new elevator. All right. Harold, have you got anything?
I don't. She summed up that later project. It's exactly what
She
we
stole
got.
your thunder, didn't she?
Yeah.
She stole your elevator. Well, if not, we've got requisition certificate number 4 for the elevator project, and I lost my place, it's $38,950.60. So I need a motion to pay requisition certificate number 4 for the 88 project.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? Alrighty. The DRC send you, okay, yeah. Some of the site inspections, it says site inspections haven't been completed. We've got other sites that have not been looked at, but we spent 3 days looking at the damage from the last flood. I'm glad you're here. We're about down to it's almost resolution time.
That's fine.
But anyway, site inspections went well. They were even at 6:30 Thursday night before they finally finished all those up that's on the list for work orders. So what they do is they set them up work orders for certain areas, and then we go to them areas, and then when they schedule more, we'll go back out and meet with them and try to show them the damage. And I don't know, 90 days from seeing payment, I don't know which one, what that is, but do you know, Robin, she's got on here 90 days from seeing payment? I don't know what.
That's what Laura sent, that's all she said.
Okay, that's fine. It just takes a while, and that should be at the bottom of every page.
To pay ERCs?
No, this is just their report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, okay. Alrighty, old business, new business. Budget ordinance 264, second reading. Jamie's already got the camera pointed at.
Ready, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Budget ordinance 264 for fiscal year 2025/2026 has been modified from the first reading to include projects and grants that have been amended to the current budget 2024/2025 to be included in the second reading of this new budget. Budget ordinance 264, second reading of the ordinance for the city of Jenkins, Kentucky, annual budget for the fiscal year, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of the city government, whereas an annual budget proposal and message has been prepared and delivered to the city council on June 2nd, 2025, and whereas the city council will review such budget proposal and make necessary modifications, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Jenkins, Section 1, that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026 is hereby read as follows. General fund revenue and expenses $1,035,566. LGEA fund revenue and expenses $65,085. Road fund revenue and expenses $44,464. Water funds revenue and expenses $631,000. Sewer funds revenue and expenses $327,000. Solid waste revenue and expenses $288,000. Special projects and grants $12,462,272. Total budget $14,853,387. That wasn't in my budget. First reading, May 5th, 2025. Second reading, June 2nd, 2025. Signature line mayor, City of Jenkins. Budget summary available for public inspection, all interested persons, hereby notified that a summary of the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget of the City of Jenkins, including the intended uses of local government economic assistance funds, is available for public inspection. The budget summary and documentation necessary to support the summary are available for public inspection at the City of Jenkins Clerk's Office from 8 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday.
And there's a budget attached.
And the budget message still stands. It's tight like it always has been. Jennifer, they've helped us apply for some safe funds for the matches. So hopefully that the legislature will approve those and we won't have to come up with 13% of a whole lot of money. So. Alrighty, entertain a motion to approve the second reading of budget ordinance 264.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
You got a motion and a second in two places. Whichever one they will pick. So anyway, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Now I jumped ahead a little bit. We've got Abby Jones with Abby Jones Engineering and Consultants, is that right?
Abby Jones Consulting.
Okay. And they will be doing our stormwater project. And I'm really excited about this project because we need some stormwater management. That's what we need. So anyway, if you would just talk a little bit about your company, about the project and what you look forward to doing here like we look forward.
Well, my name is Abby Jones. I'm the president of Abby Jones Consulting. And I have a staff of 14 engineers and surveyors. And on the engineering side, our specialty is a lot of stormwater projects. So we have folks that work on dams. We've been working with Schnakel on Y'all's Dam. We do bathymetry, so underwater mapping of lakes and things like that. So we have plans to work on doing surveying of your creek and then working on several different steps in coming up with a plan that's going to be within everybody's budgets because that's very, very important, and within the time frames that are set forward because that's also very, very important. So we'll be working to come up with a game plan for part of the maintenance of the creek. So some of those activities are things that you don't have to get large amounts of permits for, and then some things like removing piers that are in the middle of the creek, especially if there's been a lawsuit and a bankruptcy and some things like that that are much more complicated. So we'll be getting to the bottom of that and making sure that we follow all of the legal steps that are necessary to be able to make sure that the creek has its full bank area. And then we'll be coming up with some different ideas for different green sinks and different ways that we can improve the capacity of the floodplain area. It's really important to be able to try to have some places for the water to go when you do have those massive storms. And ideally those are the places where the water goes instead of into backing up into people's houses. So those first steps, again, we're going to start with our survey. Then we're going to be working on those maintenance activities first because those can be things that can be taken care of quickly. And we'll do those, again, with legal counsel because of the unusualness of the bridge situation there. And then we'll be coming up with our plan of what steps and what culverts need to be upsized, which areas need to have inlets added, all those different sorts of things, and have a budget with that so that you'll know what your implementation would be.
So when I was talking about we're rebuilding Jenkins from the water to the sewer to the storm drains now, we're on storm drains now. So Consol did a pretty good job back then for what they had to work with. So looking at culverts, looking at green sinks, and we'll explain more about what that is later on. But I'm excited that we'll be able to do this, and hopefully with our stream gauges, we'll be able to show the improvements and what that means as far as actual rain and what it translates to stream height and that kind of thing. So we're tickled to have you. You're all welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. If you want to get back home, you can go ahead and leave now if you want to, but glad to
We're
have
actually
you.
going to be staying local for the evening, so we're glad to.
Okay.
I see you brought your security with you there.
I brought the whole team, the dogs in the car. So we've already been fishing today.
Well, good deal. Glad to have you.
I've got a question. You've been working with Schnabel. They
said they've got a report on the dam, an initial report. Have we seen that?
No, not yet. Part of funding pause, I guess you could say, so.
When do you think you will begin your survey?
Well, we'll have our authorization to start
Oh, okay.
as of today, so after the contract is,
Yeah, we'll have to approve the first task order. To get all this money, you have to do evidentiary of what she's talking about, all these hoops, all these resolutions, all that thing, to make sure we spend the money right, in the right way, so that's something that's just part of it, so. But we're excited to have them working in town. They worked here, they worked for Snobble on, so if you've seen everybody, the ones going up and down the creeks and with the orange hats on, that was them.
So we had to pause Snable for a while because we had to wait for the hazard mitigation plan to get approved at the federal level by FEMA. So that has now been done. Snable has been given authorization to go forward. There is that report. Mayor, if you don't have it, I can give it to you.
I'm not seeing it
They've
yet.
done their initial report on that. So now they got to go back in and do a geotechnical. So that's the next step. We had to actually ask FEMA to give us additional funding because the dam did have some issues when they first did that initial report. So to do the geotechnical, it was going to cost more than what FEMA had allocated us. So we had to go in and ask for approval for more funding from FEMA. So FEMA has given that approval. So they've said yes. So now we're gave Snable the approval to go in and do that geotechnical. So now Snable knows that they have the approval to go in and do that geotechnical survey. So that is the next step for Snable. So they will be doing that. So you will see Snable back to work and doing that geotechnical now. So if you see some strange people up there at the dam, just know that it's Snable doing that geotechnical because they do have the approval from FEMA to do that. So that is the next step. We're also working to try to get approval. Of course, the Corps of Engineers is given approval for $3 million, but you have to have a match of 50%. So we're trying to get that approval as well. We're going through the Economic Development Department to get your approval through the House Bill 723 grant program. Up until the legislators changed it this year, the Corps was not an approved funding source. But our legislators, we let them know that, and so they went back in, they changed that so that it is an approved funding source now. So now we're giving all the documentation to the Economic Development Department to try to get that 50% match that they've requested. So we're just waiting, trying to get all that in. Hopefully we'll know something this month as to whether they're going to approve that 50% match.
But we have to come up with 3% of that 50%.
Yeah. So
But if they've got any kind of preliminary report, I would like to see that.
I'll get it to you. We actually have it. I thought we'd given it to you, and I apologize.
I've not seen it, and the Corps needs it too. I need to send Elizabeth
So
Johnson.
we do have that initial report that Schnabel did. They actually went in, they did a dive. They've got pictures and all that. So we do have that very first initial report that Schnabel did. So I will get that to you first thing tomorrow.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, we're down to Budget Amendment 262B, second reading Grandview Infrastructure Projects.
City of Jenkins Ordinance 262-B, an ordinance relating to the amendment of the budget for the City of Jenkins for fiscal year 2024-2025. Whereas KRS Chapter 91A requires that each municipality accept a budget for each fiscal year. Whereas City of Jenkins, Letcher County, Kentucky has previously adopted a budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 as a proposed plan for raising and spending money for specified programs, functions, activities, or objectives during the fiscal year so as to provide for efficient financial administration. And whereas the City of Jenkins has received a community development block grant disaster recovery in the amount of $4,762,100 in connection with the Jenkins Grandview Infrastructure Project. And whereas the City of Jenkins desires to document said transfer and to amend the 2024-2025 budget to show the inclusion of said funds into the budget, and the expenditure of said funds from the budget. Now be it ordained by the City of Jenkins, Letcher County, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, the budget of the City of Jenkins for fiscal year 2024-2025 is hereby amended to allow for the inclusion into the budget for the City of Jenkins of $4,762,100 community development block grant disaster recovery received in connection with the Jenkins Grandview infrastructure project. Section 2, that the budget for the City of Jenkins for fiscal year 2024-2025 is hereby amended to allow for the expenditures of the aforesaid $4,762,100 in community development block grant disaster recovery funds for the use on the Jenkins Grandview infrastructure project. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect following its passage and upon publication and active display day of blank 2025, signature line, Mayor, attestation clerk. First reading May 5th, 2025, second reading June 2nd, 2025.
Alrighty, that being the second reading, 262B with the Grandview infrastructure project amount included. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pass ordinance 262B.
I'll second. Having a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, budget amendment 262B pertaining to Jenkins wastewater treatment plant improvements project.
This will be read in abbreviated form. City of Jenkins ordinance number 262-B, an ordinance related to the amendment of the budget for the City of Jenkins fiscal year 2024-2025. Whereas the City of Jenkins has received a community development block grant, CDBG, in the amount of $1,474,063 in connection with the Jenkins wastewater treatment plant improvement. And whereas at Section 2, that the budget for the City of Jenkins for fiscal year 2024-2025 is hereby amended to allow for the expenditure of the aforesaid $1,474,063 in community development block grant funds for use on the Jenkins wastewater treatment plant improvements. Enacted display day of blank 2025, signature line of Mayor, attestation clerk, first reading May 5th, 2025, second reading June 2nd, 2025.
Alrighty, entertain a motion to approve second reading of 262B with the Jenkins wastewater treatment plant amounts included. I'm making a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, having a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All righty, now down to 262B with the revitalization and resiliency project.
To be read in abbreviated form, City of Jenkins ordinance number 262B, an ordinance relating to the amendment of the budget for the City of Jenkins fiscal year 2024-2025, whereas the City of Jenkins has received a Department for Local Government grant in the amount of $100,000 in connection with the Jenkins Revitalization and Resiliency Plan project. And whereas at Section 2, that the budget for the City of Jenkins for fiscal year 2024-2025 is hereby amended to allow for the expenditures of the aforesaid $100,000 in Department for Local Government grant funds for use on the Jenkins Revitalization and Resiliency Plan project. Signature line Mayor, attestation clerk, first reading May 5th, 2025, second reading June 2nd, 2025.
Alrighty, that's 262B, second reading with a $100,000 amount for revitalization and resiliency project.
Make the motion that we
All right, got a motion?
proceed to ask.
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All righty. Resolution Land Water Jenkins Park improvements.
And the Water Conservation Fund 2025 grant application resolution, City of Jenkins Park Improvement Project. Whereas the city proposes to acquire, develop, and/or renovate recreational resources to provide for the health and well-being of the general public, and whereas the city intends to make application to the Department for Local Government for assistance under the Land Water Conservation Fund Act of 1965, and whereas the Land and Water Conservation Fund is limited to funding a maximum of 50% of proposed project costs estimated at $250,000, and therefore be it resolved that the city hold in reserve 50% of the proposed project costs for the purpose of matching the Land and Water Conservation Fund assistance, and be it further resolved that in the event a grant is awarded, the city understands that it will sign assurances to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules, and regulations, especially Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act, Central Line Mayor Day, attestation clerk.
Already.
And this is to do a secondary improvements to the park. We did check, you can have another project approved just as long as the first one is closed out before the second one begins. And with the way it goes, we'll definitely have the first one closed, or at least going before we get this one. And this is to do some things like sensory equipment, things of that nature at the park, so the additional improvements to the park.
And the match, we're applying for
We're applying for House Bill 723, so you'll have your full match with it, so.
Which park is this?
the lakeside part,
One by the softball field?
yeah. Trying to add some sensory pieces and some pour in place. Every time it floods, it washes the mulch out, so we're gonna do some pour in place safety surface. I think that's what it's called. So, entertain a motion to approve that resolution for land water.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Now the budget amendment 262C, we were going to do a first reading on it, but that will come through before the actual budget goes into place, so it'll be included in the regular budget. So we don't have to read that one. Alrighty, I've got a task order here for Eddie Jones on the stormwater, not to exceed $250,900 for the first task order, which is 5% of the grant amount. So I just need your all's approval to approve a task order for her to get started.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Approve revision to procurement policy.
Don't think you have to read that one.
No, it's just,
That's your statutory language for state speed.
yeah, and it doesn't increase the $30,000 amount or anything like that. It's just some of the updates that they wanted us to add in for the disaster water money for the phase 6.
It just changes the reference from one document to the
Yeah.
federal regulation.
Yes. Points back to it.
I'll make that motion to approve that procurement revision.
All righty. Motion made to approve the procurement revision. Second. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Resolution authorizing contract administrative services, Jenkins Stormwater Improvements Project.
Resolution 60225, resolution of the city of Jenkins authorizing contracting administrative services, Jenkins Stormwater Improvement Project CDBG-ER 22D-019, whereas city of Jenkins has been awarded funds through the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant CDBG-DR close friends, through the Department of Local Government Grants DLG close friends, and Whereas in order to properly administer the grant as required by DLG and CDBG-DR, proper grant administration must be performed, and the city of Jenkins does not have the personnel trained in the administration of CDBG-DR funds. Whereas DCMC Partners LLC has project staff that are trained by the state of Kentucky for the administration of CDBG-DR funds. Now therefore, be resolved on second day of June 2025 by the city of Jenkins that the mayor is hereby authorized to contract with DCMC Partners to administer the aforementioned grant. Signature line, mayor and his clerk.
All right, need a motion to approve resolution authorizing the administrative services.
I'll make that
for
motion.
DCMC. Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And what is it, Kentucky is one of two states that administer DR. You have to be state certified. DR is a thing throughout the nation.
Who is that?
DCMC Partners. Part of that crew, that's the ones we hired early on to do this, but this is for them to administer this one grant. But part of those folks are the one that actually went into Manhattan and helped rebuild after the tires failed. Pretty interesting group, but they're in Texas and Florida and different places. But Eunice is the one that's certified with them through QK4, and it's one of the partners that we've been using to get this. So, did I ask for a vote on that one? Had a motion second? Okay. All righty, resolution, anti-displacement Jenkins Stormwater Improvements Project.
Resolution 60225A, resolution of the city of Jenkins anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan under section 104, D, of the Housing Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. Jenkins Stormwater Improvement Project, CDBG-DR 22D-019. City of Jenkins will replace all occupied and vacant, occupiable low/moderate income housing as a direct result of the activities assisted with funds provided under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, as described in 24 CFR 570.496A, all replacement housing will be provided within 3 years of the commencement of the demolition or rehabilitation related to conversion. Before obligating or expending funds that will directly result in the demolition or conversion, the city of Jenkins will make public and submit to the Department of Local Development, DLG, the following information in writing. 1, a description of the proposed assisted activity. 2, the general location on a map and the approximate number of dwelling units by size, for instance, number of bedrooms, that will be demolished or converted to a use other than that of a low/moderate income dwelling unit as a direct result of the assisted activity. 3, a time schedule for the commencement and completion of the demolition or conversion. 4, the general location on a map and approximate number of dwellings by unit size, for instance, number of bedrooms, that will be provided as a replacement dwelling unit. 5, source of funding and a time schedule for the provisions of replacement dwelling units. 6, and the basis for concluding that each replacement dwelling unit will remain a low/moderate income dwelling for at least 10 years from the date of initial occupancy. City of Jenkins will provide relocation assistance as described in 24 CFR 570.496A, each low/moderate income household displaced by the demolition of housing or by the conversion of a low/moderate income dwelling to another use as a direct result of assisted activities. Consistent with the goals and objectives of the activities assisted under the Act, the City of Jenkins will take following steps to minimize the displacement of persons from their homes. There will be no displacements as a direct result of this project. Signature line, Mayor and Station Clerk.
All righty. Resolution 60225A, anti-displacement stormwater improvements.
So, Why do we need to prove that if there's not gonna be any displacement?
It's the same thing we do for every project.
It's just a standard CDPG form. They make you do it for every single project.
No.
It's all part of that evidentiary.
I'll make that motion.
All right, got a motion, do I hear a second?
I second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. All righty. Randall's had just enough time to rest to go to resolution cost overruns and stormwater improvement project.
Resolution 60225B, resolution of the City of Jenkins authorizing commitment of coverage of cost overruns for Jenkins Stormwater Improvement Project, CDBG-DR 22D-019, whereas City of Jenkins will receive grant funding through the Community Development Block Grant-Disaster Recovery Program, CDBG-DR, administered by the Department for Local Government, DLG, and whereas in order to properly satisfy the requirement of DLG in the City of Jenkins is to provide any cost runs associated with the project. And whereas the City of Jenkins desires to move forward in order that construction can be completed in a timely manner. Now therefore be it resolved the second day of June 2025 by the City of Jenkins that assurances is made to DLG that the City of Jenkins will secure funding to cover any cost overruns associated with the aforementioned project. Signature line Todd Deepers, Mayor, Attestation Clerk.
All righty, entertain a motion to approve cost overrun resolution. And,
I'll make that motion.
all right, I have a motion and a second.
A second.
All those in favor say aye. And more or less what that means is we're not gonna drop the project if we get that far along. We'll seek other funding and other ways to, make up the difference if there is a cost overrun. All right. Resolution Fair Housing, Jenkins Stormwater Improvements Project.
Resolution 60225C, resolution of the City of Jenkins Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, Jenkins Stormwater Improvement Project, CDBG-DR 22D-019. Let it be known to all persons of the City of Jenkins that discrimination in the sale, rental, leasing, financing of housing or land to be used for construction of housing or in the provision of brokerage services because of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin is prohibited by Title 8 of the 1968 Civil Rights Act, Federal Fair Housing Law, close friends. It is the policy of the City of Jenkins to implement programs to ensure equal opportunity in housing for all persons regardless of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. The Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1988 expands coverage to include disabled persons and families with children and HUD 2012 regulations, expanded coverage to sexual orientation or gender identity. Therefore, the Council does hereby pass the following resolution. Be it resolved that within the available resources of the Council, they will assist all persons who feel they have been discriminated against because of race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, disability, or familiar status to seek equity under the federal and state laws by filing a complaint with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Office of the Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Compliance Division. Be it further resolved that the Council shall publicize this resolution and through this publicity shall encourage owners of real estate, developers, and builders to become aware of their respective responsibilities and rights under the Federal Fair Housing Law and amendments in any applicable state or local laws and ordinances. Said program will at a minimum include printing and publicizing of this policy, this bill, and other applicable fair housing information through local media and community contacts. Prints 2, distribution of posters, flyers, and other means that will bring attention of those affected to the knowledge of their respective responsibilities and rights concerning equal opportunity in housing. And Prints 3, Prepare analysis of impediments to fair housing, choices and actions to mitigate such impediments. Effective date, this resolution take effect June 2nd, 2025, signature line mayor, attestation clerk.
All righty, entertain a motion to approve the resolution for fire housing with the Jenkins Stormwater Improvements Project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. We'll try to give him just a minute here to rest. Approval for Jenkins Stormwater Improvements Project. Bank account. Oh, we don't have to do that then. You don't have to read it. We need approval to open yet another bank account. And this is for the stormwater project, which is a CDBGR project. Need a motion to open
I'll make the
additional checking account. Robin loves these.
Second.
All right, have motion second. All in favor say aye. And then in your packet, we've got a request for a roadblock and have a world champion archer in your school system. Creates a lot of travel and a lot of need for money, so they're wanting to have a roadblock to try to, there's no conflict with that artist. So entertain a motion to approve the archery team's roadblock.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye. Both same sign. They'll be traveling to, let's see, Myrtle Beach and Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. All right, council have anything tonight?
I had a gentleman lives up the Mountain Breeze area there, can't remember. He was requesting the trees be trimmed up there that was hitting everybody's cars as they go around.
Yeah, they work Saturday trying to cut some hollows out, but they'll be working that way.
Okay.
Bucket truck's tore up, so once we get it going, we'll be able to reach up and get the limbs.
Okay.
I've been asked about that pier up here at the lake.
We've not had time to drag it back up and try to hook it back up. It broke the cables during the last storm, but yeah. Yeah, we've been working Saturdays trying to catch up, but we'll eventually get there, and hopefully we won't have another storm before we do, so. All right, I'd like to remind people that the dumpsters in the park are for the city paying customers. And don't bring debris, don't bring other things. I was over there Saturday and talked to 3 or 4, and they all were from Jenkins, but I'm hoping that we can pour a concrete pad with putting those culverts back in the ground to help hold them down, but turn it around and try to clean it up and maybe put some gates up and maybe even have somebody that's sort of there with it to make sure we don't have any unauthorized dumping. I know it's easy and that's what it was for, is to get trash up around the houses so the bears and coyotes wouldn't come in on people, but people are sort of abusing it in a way, and people from outside are customers using it that shouldn't. So anyway, just want to put that out there, that make sure that, you know, if you've got a Jenkins garbage bill, that you're more welcome to add trash to it, but if you're from Virginia or Pike County or somewhere else, it ain't something for your benefit. It's for the city of Jenkins.
The worst thing is going through it.
Yeah, it's
Last couple times I've been there, somebody's been picking stuff out of it, they throw it on the ground, they leave it.
it is. And I talked to 2 Saturday that allowed they hadn't done that, but I pointed to the camera and they said, well, maybe we did. So anyway, it's like everything else, and you can abuse it and not get to use it much anymore. So anyway, that's all I've got tonight. I'd entertain that final motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
We want to add the museum until